Hey friends, today is December 9th, 2025. We are back with a little bit of news that you can use. So I want to focus in on two things. The first one is the national security strategy that the Trump administration announced on last Friday. We want to kind of look at that a little bit, and then we also want to look at the 14th Amendment and the cases that are going before the Supreme Court. So let's talk about the Monroe Doctrine. If you don't know if you've heard that term or not, but President James Monroe, 1823, came up with this doctrine of how the United States would operate in the world, right? What did that doctrine declare? And then we'll talk about what Trump is doing and why this is it's a correlation to what this document is looking to do. So the Western Hemisphere is no longer open to European colonization. It's one of the things it said. Any attempt by European powers to control or interfere in countries in the Americas would be viewed as a hostile act towards the United States. The United States would not interfere in European internal affairs or existing colonies. So, this is clearly it's a change from us going back to this doctrine is clearly different, or it's a complete change from what John Kerry said when he said that the era of the Monroe Doctrine is over. And that was when John Kerry was serving as the Secretary of State. Yeah, I believe that's right. So, what does the Trump administration want to do? Trump now seems to want to set up it's in correlation to that doctrine. What they are looking to do, they're looking to do it a little differently. So let's have a look. Let's think about this. They want to set up regional allies in various countries to help America control and or end migration, specifically that migration of Black and brown people. Okay. Concerning European countries, this new national security strategy makes the case for European nations as a continent in decline, one in turmoil and severe decline is what it said. It points to a apocalyptic picture of prosperity and cohesion by transitional organizations, unfettered migration, and cultural drift. Why that is important is because European nations, they tend to be a little bit more, with the exception of certain places on the continent, they tend to be a little more open to migration. They realize, most countries realize that people come to countries to bring culture, they come to work, they come to contribute to the economy, they come to bring services that actually help in moving an economy forward. This administration says yes, no, and no, and no to all of that. No, we don't need any of that. We want a white ethno state. We do no longer want to look like, be like, feel like anything that would be a part of a nation of cultural differences, right? So they don't want any of that. It goes further because it looks what it looks like in this national security strategy that Washington is looking to involve itself in the affairs of Europe and permanently in the war between Russia and Ukraine without Ukraine getting anything. So this would be a let's just get to peace, give Russia everything that they're asking for and that they want, and let's end this war. Let's not do anything more concerning this war. So, of course, this is concerning to European nations, which are concerned with preventing further creep towards the east. Russia takes all of Ukraine. Russia is not going to stop at Ukraine because Russia clearly thinks that they are the answer that God gave to the West. I'm sorry, to the East, and Russia is clearly looking to further take the rest of that landmass, that continent. So they are also focusing on the Middle East. I wonder why they're focusing on the Middle East. Control of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and turning the Middle East conflict from strategic to that of economic. Of course, they want Israel to have everything that Israel wants. They want Gaza to be a completely demolished state, and for those people to be stateless people. Because let's be honest and let's be very clear that right now they are stateless people. And they have already said, Trump has said it, Kushner has said it, that Gaza is prime beachfront real estate. They are already thinking in terms of how can we get more, and how can we do business over there and get more of that land and turn it into resort property. They're already thinking in terms of that kind of stuff. They are looking at it as an investment ground for international investment, America, AI, and defense technologies. So that is something that we really need to be thinking about. We need to be keeping our eye to this national security doctrine or strategy that literally came out of Project 2025. If you are looking at national defense and you're looking at what they're talking about, parts, pieces, if not all of this was in Project 2025. We need to be very mindful of that. The other thing that we need to be thinking about is this 14th Amendment hearing. So the court is preparing to hear a case on the 14th Amendment and whether or not Trump can end birthright citizenship. The cases moving forward are Trump versus Washington and Trump versus Barbara. Or birthright. Of course, it's a birthright citizenship case. So, the 14th Amendment, which is most likely, most people know it as the Citizenship Clause, tells us that those who are born in this country are indeed citizens. The amendment was intended to overrule the 1857 ruling in Dred Scott versus Sanford, which held that a Black person whose ancestors were brought to the United States and enslaved was not entitled to any protection from the federal courts because he was not a U.S. citizen. That was Dred Scott versus Sanford. Barbara versus Trump, a New Hampshire judge issued a preliminary injunction against the administration from enforcing an executive order on a class of babies born on or after February 20th, 2025, who are or would be denied U.S. citizenship by the administration. So, in Trump versus Washington, the Ninth Circuit ruled that an executive order was invalid because it contradicted the plain language of the amendment, which entitles grants of citizenship to all persons born in America. Well, the court has granted the administration's review in the Barber case. They are not fast tracking it, which means that they would most likely not hear this case until spring of next year. Why is this important? Keep in mind, please, that as I just read to you, the 14th Amendment was an amendment for Black folks. I just clearly just I am reading. I'm not making this up. I am reading so that the facts are there. The 14th Amendment, which is mostly known as the Citizenship Clause, tells us that those who are born in this country are indeed citizens. Based on Dred Scott versus Sanford, which said that if you brought a person, a slave, to this country, and they had children, and their children had children, they are citizens of this country, whether you like it or not. Why is this important? If they are certainly they are going after Hispanic folks, they are going after Somali Americans, they are going after, they will be going after Indian Americans, they are going after everyone. Please, for us Black folks, please let us be very clear that they are going to come for us. To look at what happened in Chicago. Look at how they went into Chicago and raided that apartment building, and how without they arrested Black folks, treated them in all kinds of ways. Yeah, they let them go. But that was a test run. It was a test run for how far they could push the limits of immigration and birthright citizenship. Because please keep in mind, these white people have been saying for years that America is for white people. And so if you are not white and you are not here serving them, you have no business here. Saying all that to say, we have to be very mindful of cases such as this. Because if he is able to end birthright citizenship, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, he is still in office for the next 3 years. They will be coming for Black folks. They are already coming for Black people. They've never stopped coming. My question has always been, people, they don't come for us. They don't do this. They don't. When did they stop? I'm confused as to when we think they stopped. So anyway, some things to be keeping our eyes and our minds to. Some things to be educating ourselves on. I would not just be listening to people creating content and content creators who are creating political content without looking at some of the facts as well. I'm just here because I'm a nerd and I love this kind of stuff, so I am consistently consuming it. So I figured let's share it with the people. Go read some of this stuff for yourself so that you are just as informed as I am. Happy Monday.